Hello everyone and welcome to Usitility. Today we are going to see how to play Idle Breaker on PC using the amazing BlueStacks 5. That is designed for blazing fast speed and high-octane action, and it has faster performance than any other high-end Android device or Android platform. We will be able to easily download and install Idle Breaker and enjoy the game on our Windows PC or laptop with keyboard, mouse and big screen thanks to BlueStacks 5, which is the Android emulator that we recommend to play Idle Breaker. So without further ado, let's get to it. First of all, my friends, the first thing to do is to launch our main web browser. We selected the one we prefer. Let's go to the current URL that I'm highlighting in green color. Now, you can discover on the screen. You don't need to type the URL, because there's a clickable link in the description of this video and as well in the first pinned comment. Once clicking on this link, we reach the site of BlueStacks. No panic, it is simply the Android emulator that we are going to use to play Idle Breaker on our PC. As you can see from here, we access a number of advantages of using that emulator. So we are ready to start downloading the Idle Breaker by clicking on this button Play on BlueStacks that I have marked in green. Next step is clicking on it. And the download starts and ends immediately. Here it is. Here is located the download. It's an executable file. What we are going to do now is to launch the installer, so we click on this file. If we are on Windows 10, it will have asked us for permission to allow changes to the computer. We answered yes. I minimized the web browser to start to see the installer much better. The installer is quite simple. It consists of two choices, install and setup path. I am going to show you what setup path does. We merely click on it. So we discover that they got here the path where in fact the emulator will be set up. If we would like to modify this folder, we must click on that browse button, and we choose another directory and install the emulator precisely where we choose. I will set it where it is. I simply click back, so I just click on install. Voila! The install commences and it's going to proceed together with the download of those megabytes which are displayed on the screen. When you save it on your hard drive, it could be slightly more or less MB. The data transfer rate may go faster or slower, subject to your connection and depending on the efficiency of the emulator hosting servers. Immediately they are progressing superbly fast. The download is finished, and now it proceeds with the installation phase. With BlueStacks 5 you can even reduce RAM usage with a single click. Especially useful if you ever face performance-related problems. In addition, you can activate Eco Mode to enjoy 87% reduced CPU usage, 97% reduced GPU usage and easier multitasking. As you can see, BlueStacks 5 is built to provide stability and performance during long gaming sessions. The installation has already finished for me. At this moment, the emulator has actually been started automatically. As you can observe, at the bottom of the screen, there is a progress bar that will fill up, so when it attains the end, the emulator will be launched for the first time. The fact is the emulator is already launched. Here it is for the first time. Before we continue on, as you understand, it has created a couple of software icons there on the computer desktop. The BlueStacks and BlueStacks multi-instance. Note that the BlueStacks app icon is the one we're considering. Anytime we have to run Idle Breaker on our PC, we twice click that software icon and as a result launch the emulator. The BlueStacks multi-instance icon allows you to launch multiple emulator instances. And with BlueStacks 5's new improved multi-instance manager in Eco Mode, players can run more game instances faster and with less lag. Why don't we make the next step? That is a requirement, and that's to log on to the Google Play Store. To do that we will browse here to System Apps, we click. And we will mouse click on Play Store. As you can see now the Google Play is presented. In this case we have got to sign in. At this time the moment we are there, we have to execute the following step which is absolutely mandatory. So we click on Sign In. At this moment it announces Checking Info. It might sometimes get stuck in Checking Info and so it doesn't advance. If that's the case, you should try to log in and after a couple of hours it's going to most certainly be solved. At this moment we shall type our username and password. The email needs to be a Gmail email and its associated password. For example, you make use of the same email you are using at this moment in your YouTube account. Therefore I will submit my details and I'll come back as soon as I have done it. That's it, information entered. This is Google welcoming us and supplying us the twos. We are going to say yes to them by clicking on I agree. Following, it allows us to back up to the Google Cloud. You can leave it selected and it'll make a backup of the data on this device to Google Drive. I am not going to select it, you do what you want. We mouse click on accept. Google Play Store is started by default and instantly. To set up the app game, we have got to go to the emulator desktop for Android by clicking on this icon indicated green colored. Right now that we are exploring the desktop of the emulator, we notice that we now have right here the install game button. We click on the button. There we access to the Android game. So let's click on right here on the Install option that I'm just highlighting now in green. And this will initiate the software setup. At this moment it should download and install the video game. It typically takes a while or it may be very fast. It all relies upon on the connection to the web. This has just finished installing. It's time to go back to the emulator desktop by pressing this specific button I'm emphasizing in green, so that you can launch Idle Breaker for the first time. I am now on the emulator desktop, and we are preparing to simply click this new Idle Breaker app icon that's been generated. This Android game is launched for the first time. Now there we end up with it. I'm able to press anywhere on the screen and also make use of the keyboard. I should talk about the sound level of this emulator. It is here. We have got the icon of higher volume and also the icon of lower volume. This manner we will not depend on the Windows volume to increase or decrease the audio of your emulator. And to appreciate the experience to the greatest, we can turn on the large monitor, for which we have two choices. This is simply the very first one. We then click on this icon which I am mentioning in green color. And the display screen is maximized, experiencing one border at the top, one on the right side and one at the bottom. Assuming that we aspire to run the application in full screen, we hit this particular app icon. And we might without a doubt be experiencing the game in full screen setting. To stop the full screen setting, press the F11 key. And we'd currently end up being in normal computer screen setting. At present, I am ready to demonstrate you the computer keys mapping, which is actually quite cool. This step we will be able to use the game more easily. The very first task is to press this software icon. It's now time to make the required configuration settings. I am about to let the default configuration, but if you desire to change it, you may well do so without having problem. As you can see, the emulator is absolutely in our own language. Sometimes it happens that your emulator is presented in the incorrect language, such as in Chinese. And therefore to set it up in the appropriate language we go here to the cogwheel. Then right here throughout many other settings, we simply click on the language drop down. We should opt for the language we wish, English, Mandarin, etc. Once the language is chosen, we would save, the emulator would reboot, as well as the game application, next time we launch it, would also be in the opted for language. At present, you will find another detail that we will need to take into consideration, and this is that we will receive a message from Google Mail saying that a different device has been connected to our Google account. It definitely will check with us if we are the ones who have associated with that electronic device. That's right, we may not be troubled, considering that the emulator is emulating an Android electronic device. In order to identify which tablet or smartphone is being emulated, we arrive right here, to the cogwheel and we simply click on it. Therefore we browse here to the Model option. And right here we notice that the emulator is acting as a Samsung Mobile. And so we're going to receive an email saying that a new Samsung device has been connected to our Google account. That's all guys, so much for the training. I anticipate you appreciated it, particularly that everyone found it interesting. If so, give it a good like, subscribe to the channel, and any feedback, requests or ideas, leave them in the comment box below. Just click on any of those video tutorials which are usually showing up on the suggestion of videos to watch and see you in the upcoming video tutorials. Bye.